Have you ever felt that there's someone in your life who isn't there by chance? Someone who appeared in a different way? As if they had been sent by God at the exact moment you needed them? As if deep in your heart, you just knew, this person came from a higher place, from a plan I can't see, but that calls me strongly. Maybe you've experienced this before, or maybe you're living it right now, without even realizing it. And what if I told you that, for the chosen ones, nothing that touches the heart deeply happens by accident? God has His ways of speaking, guiding, and bringing together people who carry purpose. And sometimes, He uses someone to remind you of that. When God chooses someone to walk beside you, it's not just to fill a space or cure loneliness. It's because that person is part of your mission. They are a tool, a bridge, an answer. This kind of connection isn't like the others. It pulls you back when you lose your way. It strengthens you when the world makes you weak. And even when you doubt everything, their presence calms you, cleanses you from within, and helps you remember who you are. But there's something important you need to know. The signs that show someone was sent by God are not loud. They don't come in the form of thunder or visible miracles. They are gentle, subtle, yet so deep that they change everything. Today, I want to walk with you through those signs, one by one. You might be surprised to realize that God has already shown you everything. You just hadn't stopped to see it yet. In the next few minutes, I'm going to tell you the 5 clear signs that God has chosen this person for you, chosen one. And maybe, somewhere in the middle of this message, your heart will quietly whisper, "That's why I felt it." So, take a deep breath and come with me, because what you're about to hear may change the way you see love, the presence of God, and your own story. There are encounters that never fade, people who come into your life, and even as time passes, something inside you is never the same again. Have you ever experienced that? Have you ever met someone who, the moment they appeared, made your heart wake up in a completely new way? That's the first sign. For the chosen ones, nothing is random, especially when it comes to people. God is a master at bringing paths together at the right moment, in the simplest and yet most profound way. And when that person appears, the heart feels before it understands. There's no way to explain it in words. It's as if peace suddenly descends upon you, as if their presence were a shelter on a stormy day. You don't need to say anything, pretend anything, or protect yourself. Just being there changes everything. This kind of encounter transforms you. It reveals parts of yourself that were hidden. It removes layers of fear you didn't even know you carried. And even without fully understanding why, you feel the desire to become better, to grow, to love more, to draw closer to God. And it's not about a fleeting passion. It's not about a fire that burns quickly and disappears the next day. It's something gentler, more genuine, more real. It's as if your soul whispers, "I already know this heart." Even if that person is completely different from what you imagined. Even if your story together seems unlikely. Because when it's part of God's plan, human logic doesn't matter. What matters is what you feel deep inside. Have you ever felt that? That when you met someone, something inside you awakened effortlessly, as if your entire life had been preparing you for that moment. Many chosen ones describe this kind of encounter. Someone who appeared in the middle of pain or during a season of confusion and simply brought light. They brought calm. They brought direction. That's the first sign that God has chosen this person for you. The encounter that transforms. Because God doesn't unite people by chance. He unites them to heal, to elevate, to reveal what the chosen one carries within their heart. And when that happens, you just know. Not with your mind, but with your soul. Second sign. There are moments in life when everything feels dark. You look around and see no way out. Your heart is tired, your soul feels heavy, and all you want is to stop. But it's exactly in those moments that God steps in. And many times, He doesn't speak with a loud voice. He speaks through people. That's the second sign that God has chosen this person for you. They appear when you need them most. It's not coincidence. It's not luck. It's divine help. This person shows up when your hope is fading, when your strength is almost gone. They don't come with ready-made answers or empty promises, but their presence alone changes the atmosphere. They listen to you in a way no one else does. They understand you even when you can't find the words, and suddenly what once felt unbearable becomes lighter. Because when God sends someone, He sends them with purpose. And that purpose is to remind you that you are not alone. Maybe you've already lived this. That season of your life when everything was cloudy. And then, out of nowhere, someone entered your life and brought light. They gave you the right word, made you smile on a hard day, lifted you up when you were falling apart inside. And with time, you started to realize, this person helps me breathe, move forward, not give up. And it's not just emotional support. Sometimes that person lovingly confronts you, pushes you to grow, shows you that you're stronger than you think. It's as if God uses them to hold your hand at the exact moment you were about to let go of everything. And that, you never forget. Have you ever felt that? That someone showed up right when you needed them the most? As if heaven looked at you and said, I'm taking care of you through this person. Chosen one, keep this in your heart. When someone arrives at the precise moment your soul is crying for help, when they become God's embrace in human form, that's not chance. That's the second sign. It's God responding to your pain with a presence, with someone chosen to walk beside you. Have you ever noticed that some people understand you with just a look? You start to speak, and they already know what you're feeling. Sometimes you don't even have to explain. They just know. That's the third sign that this person was sent by God. They understand you on a level that seems impossible. It's not ordinary empathy. It's as if they can see into your soul, as if they've already walked through your pain. And even without knowing every detail of your story, they can feel what hurts you. They recognize the tone of your voice. They understand when you're smiling on the outside but crying on the inside. This isn't something that can be learned. It can't be taught. It's something God plants in the heart of the one He chooses to walk beside you. That person carries a deep spiritual sensitivity. They don't judge you for your mistakes. They see your worth. They don't try to change who you are. They awaken the best version of you. And the most beautiful thing about this kind of connection is that it doesn't need explanation. It's as if the souls simply recognize each other. Maybe you've felt that before. A light conversation that flows easily, without effort. A comfortable silence where you don't need to pretend. A presence that calms you, even on your most confusing days. And do you know why? Because when God joins two paths, He also joins hearts. He gives understanding. He gives clarity. He gives peace. This person didn't come to complete you. They came to remind you of who you truly are. They mirror you, reveal you, and challenge you to grow. And all of it happens with such beautiful simplicity, such softness, that you can only think, this isn't human. There's something greater here. Chosen one, God never makes mistakes in the connections He allows. When someone can touch the deepest part of your being, without invading, without pressuring, without forcing, it's because that person has already been touched by God first. That's the third sign. And it doesn't come with noise. It comes with silence, with presence, with truth. And when you find it, you feel it. Deep in your soul, you know, this person truly sees me. Fourth sign. Maybe you've already noticed that some people pass through your life, but don't walk with you. They appear, stay for a while, leave a mark on a certain phase, and then they move on. But when God sends someone, it's different. That person walks in the same direction as you, even if their steps are different. There's alignment. There's purpose that connects. It's not just affinity. It's not just companionship. It's mission. It's destiny. And even if your stories are completely different, when you look at each other, you feel you're heading to the same place. Not out of obligation, but because your hearts beat to the same rhythm. This person doesn't pull you backward. They encourage you to keep going. They don't dim your light. They help you shine with more courage. Sometimes they don't even say much, but the way they live already inspires you to be better. And the most amazing thing is how everything just fits. Their dreams complement yours. Their values strengthen yours. Their choices never hinder your spiritual growth. When God sends someone, He makes sure that connection doesn't steal your focus. It helps you stay on the path. You begin to notice that beside this person, you don't lose yourself. On the contrary, you find yourself. And even on difficult days, when everything seems to fall apart, you don't give up, because there's something greater sustaining that journey. It's not about always walking hand in hand, it's about walking with your eyes fixed on the same heaven. This person understands what honor, faithfulness, and truth mean. They don't need to make big promises, they show it in their daily actions. And you realize they were sent by God not to carry you, but to walk with you, side by side, with respect, with presence, with purpose. Maybe they arrived quietly, without drawing attention, but they brought meaning, order, and peace. And that's how God works. He sends people who don't just pass through, but stay. They stay through good and bad times, because they understand that walking with another person is also walking with God. Fifth sign. Maybe you've been through this before, a moment when everything felt dark, when your strength was fading, and just by being near a certain person, something inside you began to calm down. It wasn't just their presence. It was something greater, something deeper. It was as if the atmosphere itself changed, as if the weight on your shoulders suddenly lifted. And maybe you can't even explain it, but when that person is around, your anxiety feels lighter, your thoughts become clearer, your heart slows down. That's not coincidence. That's spiritual. Because when God sends someone, He places upon them an anointing that protects, that covers, that brings peace. They're not your shield, but they're used by God to remind you that you're not alone, and that even in the midst of battle, there is rest. They pray for you even when you don't know it. They sense your pain without you having to say a word, and when you feel small, they remind you of your greatness. With simple words, yet full of truth. This person isn't perfect, but they have something rare, a peaceful spirit, one that's connected to heaven, and just by being beside them, you can feel that God is there too. Do you know why? Because God uses people like this as refuge points in the middle of the desert, as temporary shelters, where the chosen one can rest before continuing the mission. Sometimes they don't even realize what they're doing, but the way they listen, the way they hug, the way they stay silent, that's already healing. That's already protection. That's already a sign of divine presence. And the most beautiful part of it all? This person doesn't take God's place. They lead you to Him. They point you back to the path. They remind you who you are, even when you forget. That's why you feel peace the moment they arrive. Because where they step, God also steps. Where they speak, heaven also speaks. And then you understand, this connection isn't ordinary, it's spiritual. It's holy, it's sent. Maybe now everything makes more sense to you. Maybe you've already felt this kind of connection in your soul, the kind that can't be explained by logic, but that transforms your spirit. A bond that transcends time, distance, and even life's misalignments. Because deep down, it doesn't depend on circumstances. It depends on purpose. Yes, some people enter our story as if by coincidence. But when God wants to mark the life of a chosen one, He sends someone who carries the fragrance of heaven, someone whose words heal, whose silence strengthens, whose presence brings peace. Have you noticed that when this person is near, your faith seems to reignite? You start believing again in yourself, in God, and in the path He's writing for your life. And even when they're far away, you still feel the impact of their presence. Because God Himself makes sure that this connection remains alive. Because this person wasn't sent to please you. They were sent to align you with what is eternal, with what is invisible, yet real, with what cannot be seen by the eyes, but only by the heart. And maybe now you understand why the enemy tried so hard to separate you. Because when you two connect, heaven manifests, and God's purpose moves faster. But pay attention. This connection isn't meant to be idolized. It's meant to be honored with humility, with responsibility, with gratitude. If God trusted you with this bond, it's because He wants you to care for it, to protect it, to value it. Because connections like this aren't found just anywhere. They are rare. They are sacred. So if someone came to your mind while watching this message, thank God for them. Pray for them. Honor their presence. And if it's God's will, This connection will remain strong because it wasn't created by the world, it was written by heaven. Now answer me honestly, did this video speak to you? Did it remind you of someone? Of a connection that seemed ordinary, but deep down was divine? If yes, comment, "I've felt this before," or "I'm going through this right now," or write it in your own words, because I read everything and I pray for you. And if you feel that this message is important, share it with someone who lives in your heart. It might be that this person also needs to be reminded of how special they are, how they were sent with a purpose. Oh, and don't forget to leave your like. It helps this video reach more people like you, people who aren't here by accident, but because God is calling back those who carry a promise. Subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell to keep walking this journey with us. We don't talk about religion. We talk about truth. We talk about the soul and about how God moves in the details. See you in the next video. May God bless you deeply.